that? It's we have some of the cast here, and so a minute ago, Andrew Furtado, the editor of Brand New tore me up and said, "And Bobby got knifed," and I was panicked. I had no idea what he was talking about, but he was giving me a cue. But so Ann Bobby is here, and come on up. We're gonna sit down. Nicholas Vance and Simon Bamford are here as well, and Charles Hayes is somewhere. Charles Hayes. Oh, there he is, Mr. Charles Hayes. And Martin Mercer is he here somewhere? Did you make it, Martin? And Steve Hardy, the production designer, are you here? And Andrew Furtado, the editor of the Director's Cut. Where are you? There you are. Mark Miller, the producer of the Director's Cut, and of course a very, very special guest, Clive Barker, is here for us this evening. Clive, thank you for making this.
Thank you for being here and celebrating it. And thank you all the amazing talents that made this happen. It's made by a collaboration, you know, a loving collaboration.
The question that I think people have on their minds the most is they want to know if there's a lost musical number to Hellraiser.
It's Hello, Dolly. Hell, oh, Dolly. You know, it's interesting because one of my favorite things in this is Anne singing, and she's amazing. She's amazing. Beach Anne, yay! I have never seen it the way I've just seen it on the big screen. So I'm fighting back tears here right now. It's just amazing to see it. Amazing. This is 25 years of waiting for this to happen. And this is exactly the way it should be, all that time.
To see this and think if this had come out like this at that time, I mean, it was so far ahead of its time. And people say that a lot, but the more research that I do into your world, I find that constantly to be the case.
I don't know, I'm not being coy here. I'm not absolutely sure that if it had come out 25 years ago, people would necessarily have got it.
Yeah.
Thoughts?
Dead silence. Everyone's listening.
Well, I just feel as though there is always going to be a reluctance when it comes to celebrating the odd and the strange. And this is a movie which celebrates everything that we are, and that the people who run big movie corporations are not.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes. Yeah.
You know, Simon just said to me, you know, it's about art, isn't it? And it is. It's a, you know, the Nightbreed represent the need to and the urge to create, to be different, the need to be different, the appetite to be different. Not just the enforced necessity because you were born that way, though I was born this way. You know, I was born to make art and suck cock. But you know, not in that order. But you know, those are things that were, you know, forced upon me. But then you get on with life because those are the things that you're given. God gives you the chance to be odd.
Yes.
And the devil gives you normality.
With a book that's coming out this spring, in case you guys don't know, the Scarlet Gospels brings closure to the Pinhead story.
Yes.
Can I ask the mischievous question? What can we expect of Midian? Do you feel that this is closure, or do we maybe
No,
have...
of course it is a closure. I mean, you know, you know what the end of this movie always signified was, that, you know, Ashbury was to go out into the world and then find these creatures, and Boone was to save Baphomet, to save the Nightbreed, and empower the Nightbreed. But, you know, it was never going to happen because there was never any support for this movie. Now they're talking about making a TV show. Maybe that will happen, maybe it won't. I know that there's stories in my heart about these characters, and I know that there's a story yet to tell, an epic story yet to tell about these characters. But I don't hold my breath because I've been disappointed a lot.
But
And
there
I
has
think-
to be a Sondheim number.
Say again?
A Sondheim number.
A Sondheim number would be
Yeah.
nice. And yeah, exactly right. Yeah, into the woods. But actually, the nice thing is that I think we need to learn to be content with the things we've been given. And courtesy of fate and Mr. Mark Miller and all his team, I've been given this. And I don't think I think it would be mean-spirited almost when you say, well, what else can I have? You know, what else can I have? Can I have another one of these?
Yes.
In a way, this is a thing that is complete unto itself, and I'm very, very, very grateful that it is in the world. And I think it's going to give a lot of people a lot of pleasure. And I think a lot of people who aren't even born yet are going to see something that I believe about the world put in the form of a movie. And I thought it would be lost forever.
Tomorrow, it's unleashed on the world.
Yeah,
Tomorrow's
I know.
the release date.
I know. It's a very cool thought. 25 years a day.
You know, it's when I was 1 and saw this movie play, I said 25 years ago, I'm gonna edit the shit out of that. It's a big day, man.
I love it.
Mark, what do you think we should ask Mr. Parker? I just want to know, you never got to see it on the big screen the way it was meant to be seen.
Well, I was looking at it through tears, so that doesn't really count. I'm going to have to sit in the cinema without anybody around me and with my Kleenex beside me, and watch it free of anything else. It's an amazing looking movie. And I think what's interesting is that the technology, the digital technology, didn't exist to clean this picture up 25 years ago. It looks better, it sounds better than it could have done 25 years ago. It is in many ways not just the movie I made, but a better version of the movie I made, technically.
I love the mechanical effects.
Yeah.
I love that it's all costumes and builds and
the
tactile.
fact that it's constant.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's where I go back to what I was saying in the beginning. This was made by a lot of people. And I wish everybody who made this movie was in this room right now. Because there are, you know, some of them are passed on. Dickie Martin, who cut this picture, regrettably, is not with us anymore. He's an amazing talent. And he's not the only one who's passed on. But I think there's something about cinema which is very different from the other two things I do, which is writing and painting, which are lonely, you know, solitary occupations, you know, they turn you in on yourself. Cinema drives you out into a collective endeavor, and if you have fun, then the memories are half the joy of it. Unfortunately, the memories were soured by you know, some of the people I dealt with later, but those are healed memories now. They're healed by tonight.
I don't know how to respond to it. That's beautiful. It's not a common end to the story when you hear of things like this happening with studios.
Well,
and things
this
like
has
that.
never happened before.
Yeah.
I genuinely think you and I, all of us here, are at an event which is I'm going to say a one-time only event. I don't think a movie has ever been restored to this level, from such incoherence to such great coherence, from such physical ruined condition to such sublime beauty. I think we have so much to be grateful for. I have so much to be grateful for. I don't think it would have happened without, you know.
Yeah, he's pretty awesome. That's pretty great. And you pointed out that this is a positive side of the internet, that the fan, what's the word?
The whole
you can
Occupy
use is
Midian movement,
immense.
the whole Occupy Midian movement, which Anne initiated, you know, that's another part of this great puzzle, this great human puzzle, which made this possible. And you know, it's great for me to be here and say, oh, Clive Barker this, Clive Barker that. No, everybody who made this, everybody who is involved in this, was involved then and is now, are part of this great party. That's why I wanted to put at the end of it, thanking Mark and thanking everybody else for making this a great reunion, because that's what it is. It's a reunion for me with my imagination, with a dream I had 25 years ago.
I'm going to take this opportunity to ask a personal question. Do you feel that...
7.5 inches.
Do you feel that the process of this being completed in the way that it does has changed part of your perception of what the world is, because it was such a negative experience that must have shaped decades?
It would be nice to say, I'm 62 now, it would be nice to say that I could pick up the cinematic dreams I had and follow them through with the new hope that this has given me. And I'm going to try and do that now. I mean, I had sort of given up on movies, you know? You give up on movies because there's so many punks and schmucks who get in the way of artists doing the job. And that's not just me, it's not artists, it's Charlie, and it's Anne, and it's all the people who are, and it's the makeup people, and, we want to do our job, right? And they get in the way. And I thought I pretty much raised up my hands in surrender and said, okay, I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to try this anymore. Yeah. I'm going to go home and write and paint, and at least I know that nobody will bother me when I do that. But now, boy, oh boy, oh boy, it's terribly tempting. I'm just worried that if I don't want to waste another year and a half of my life.
Right.
Nobody wants to do that, right? And nobody wants to waste time making something that is then taken away from you. And torn apart and invalidated. It was.
You've got an army of fans at this point, so.
Maybe I'll be able to hold it down after this one. I've got to go home, unfortunately. I've got some stuff to do. I do want to just say thank you to everybody on the stage tonight and everybody out there. Thank you for this evening.
Thank you for making this.
In the future, I'm sure, Mr. Mercer. You look even younger than you did last year. How are you?
Sorry, Clive, you have to forgive me. I've just come back from Britain and my ears are pretty bad from the airplane.
Yeah.
Sorry.
They beat you around the head with don't they? Your ears go bad.
Right.
We should get together and make a movie, Mr. Hardy.
Yeah, it'd be lovely.
Yeah.
But it's fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. The digital restoration is superb.
It's all done with hand puppets.
Yeah.
Good night, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you.
Thank you, Clive.
Thank you, Johnny, for making cool about your birthday. Clive Barker. Now, Andrew Furtado is going to do stand-up for the next 47 minutes.
I gotta pick 7. Are you serious? Come on, man. Seriously.
It's pretty overwhelming to see that, like knowing how much went into it and how much disappointment was wrapped up in it. And Mark has told a story that he had his VHS copy, that when they finally watched it.
Tell it.
What?
It's right there.
I was like, what? This is going to be a long night with Andrew Furtado having a turned on microphone. But he gave it to Clive to sign, and Clive told him, this is the first time I can sign this, that it's not going to hurt to do so. So it's just like, it's, I feel like it's really important what we saw tonight. I'm really happy about it. I should introduce who these people are just in case. We'll skip you.
Crush it!
Andrew Furtado did the director's cut edit. Nicholas Vince, you might recognize, you don't have the Moonhead. But he was the chatterer in Clive's first film, and this one was Kinski. Simon Bamford, in Clive's first film, was a very, very rotund and terrifying buttonball of a Cenobite. Can you take your shirt off so we can see the chest tattoos and the nipple piercings? And this one? And then, but the dick jokes have stopped him. And then Anne, Bobby, of course, you recognize. And Martin Mercer, you did effects on this, not storyboards. You're a storyboard man.
Yeah.
Clive gave you your
I
break
do
on.
storyboards and concept art now, but back then I was just one of the background creature guys.
Oh,
You had the main core group, and then we did all the masks and so on and so forth.
That's fantastic. All those incredible practical effects. It was really cool. Mr. Charles Haig, who I'm hoping is a lot nicer than he was in the film. Great character. And you recognize Mark Miller from the introduction. And the man in charge of all of those beautiful, beautiful special effects would have been Mr. Steve Harden. Am I correct? Is that the way you describe what you did, production designer? This was your first production design job, wasn't it? You worked on, am I right, Return of the Jedi and Highlander and things like that in a smaller sense, and then this was your first...
working with Clive doing makeup effects on Hellraiser, but he knew I was, art department guy, and they were, he was brave enough to give me the chance to design the movie as the first thing I ever did.
What's it like seeing this with what your job must have become across the last 25 years? Being digital and things like that, seeing something this mechanical, what is it?
I always think it's hard looking at your own work. You're always kind of looking at
The wrong slime color and every...
But no, I think, it stands test of time. It's really cool.
I want to just let that silence hang for a minute. And then another question kind of in that realm, and this is more for you, because you were so young working on this, and actually this is for both of you, do you feel like there's anything that you learned working with someone like Clive that directly affected jobs that you had in the future? Was there a process of him working that was peculiar enough that you felt like it served you in the future?
I'd only just started reading his books because I just got the job at Image at the time. So after reading the books of Blood, which were brilliant, they were amazing. So that was really impressive to meet Clive and see his illustrations as well. And the fact that he'd done the covers, those beautiful covers of the original pressing. So that was very impressionable at that time. And it was, before then I'd been a trainee, so it was really nice to get given a chance to go, okay, well here's a pair of stilts. There's a character in there who's got these stilts and a big stomach and these bent back legs. And I was given these pair of metal legs and said, okay, make something for that. So that was brilliant.
That's really cool. Clive, a lot of people don't know this. Clive was an artist before he was a writer or filmmaker or anything, and so part of some of the things we've been doing on Kickstarter with the Imaginer art books is documenting a lot of his drawings and paintings. And I had watched some of the bonus footage on the DVDs, and people were saying that working with Clive in the production, he could just immediately upside down draw whatever ideas he had, and that must have been interesting for a director to be able to so visually share what it was that he was creating. You guys worked with Clive, obviously, on Hellraiser before this. What was it like having the escalation in budget and not, or did he keep you in
It
the
was
same
interesting 'cause
tiny,
Hellraiser was
tiny little trailer?
rooms that.
Hellraiser was such a small scale. I mean, it was almost like one house, one set, one family, a very few cast. To go from that to this was sublime to the ridiculous. Really.
Well, yeah, I mean, we went via Hellbound, so we were at
Yes.
Pinewood as well. But
Yeah.
the original studio that we filmed Hellraiser in is not much bigger than this stage. The production of it in Cricklewood really was tiny, probably about the quarter of the size of this room. So yeah, that was. But we had done Hellbound, which was also Pinewood Studios. But I do remember walking onto the set of Midian and just looking, just going, oh, wow, that really is tall, isn't it? Because it's about 3 stories tall, the actual physical set. You just reminded me, sudden flash, what Clive was also doing when we were doing Nightbreed, when we were sketching stuff, was making Rorschach images. One of the original crew t-shirts is a Rorschach image where he just, I remember him watching him doing it, folded in paper, oh my God, it's beautiful, it's just absolutely.
That's how he did all the illustrations for Cabal.
Yeah,
For the Cabal.
yeah, and absolutely extraordinary.
You have a ridiculously soothing voice. It's very
It's
calm.
called jet lagged.
Do you remember the set actually burned?
It did.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Which
The
I think
set
helped,
Midian,
I think
or
it
what do you
helped
mean?
the look of
No,
it.
it was actually when I first, my first morning on the set, I got off the plane from New York and I got onto A stage, and Chris Fig, who was producing, came over and said, "Welcome to the set and come back in 2 weeks because the set burned down." And okay, so I got to hang around London for a little while before we actually started shooting it.
How does it feel to have your musical number back, Annie?
Oh,
That was a big thing that Clive was upset about. And the first scene when they did the re-edit, the first scene they put back in was that number.
That wasn't on purpose either. It was fate. I was going through 36 hours of footage.
I love this
The only scene that I had fully cut, ready to show to Clive, is Johnny Get Angry, aka my new fucking ringtone. I couldn't handle it at first, and now it's stuck in my head. I know every word. I cut a music video for it.
And the last Q&A we did, we had a free DVD